Welcome to the CEO Launch Podcast.
We are a dynamic mother-daughter duo bringing you personality, insights, and practical advice from two different generations of entrepreneurship.
We aren't just mother and daughter. We are also best friends and business partners.
I've watched my mom help thousands of entrepreneurs start the businesses of their dreams, including me. And now it's your turn. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 11. Last week, we talked about mistakes, and as a business owner, mistakes can be very detrimental to our self-esteem, but we talked about how you come back from it, because that's the important part, coming back, letting yourself know that you are very human, even though you are that amazing CEO that you are, and you're allowed to make mistakes.
Yep.
So this week, we're going to be talking about something that also can get a little vulnerable, as my mama said last week. But this week, we're going to be discussing self-doubt and insecurity. And as business owners, especially business owners who may be doing this on their own, all of my first-generation CEOs, even second-generation like myself, just starting a business can be very, very scary.
Yeah.
It takes a lot out of you. And so this is the episode where I get vulnerable and I get to take my crown back as the drama queen.
Yes. I don't think I want that crown. I think I like you having that
You
crown.
think so?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take it back. We're going to go back in the day to January 2020.
You know, anything pre-COVID is a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. This was a very different world that we were in. We could go outside. We could go to restaurants. It was different. So in January, I officially incorporated my business on January 2nd. I was very excited. I had been planning all of the end of 2019. I think the second that we left MogulCon,
Right.
I was like, all right, you have been wanting me to be a business owner my entire life, and now's the moment.
I finally won.
Right.
I finally won you over. Like, okay, fine, I'll do it.
I'm going to do it. So MogulCon was a turning point for me. And for anyone who doesn't know, MogulCon is this amazing conference that happens in Atlanta where women of color who are entrepreneurs gather together and just learn how to expand their business so that they can become moguls. And I was fortunate enough to be invited by my incredible mother, because this was your second, third, fourth year speaking. Okay, so this is how trash I am. She has spoke 4 times and I hadn't seen her yet.
4th time attending. I think it might have been my 3rd time speaking, but it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, I'm still kind of trash because it happened more than once and I hadn't seen her speak at MogulCon yet. And so I saw her speak, and just seeing all the incredible women in that space, I just knew that now was the time and now was the space for me to become a business owner. So that first couple of months post MogulCon, I knew I wanted to join a coaching program. You know, I had walked up to Felicia and I was like, listen, I haven't started my business, but can I do this? She was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, perfect. So I started putting everything in line and thinking about what I wanted my business to be. And I have to tell you, I had a very big concept of what Auclair Vision was going to be. I don't even think I had the name yet. I did it. I had a very big concept of what this business was going to be because it was based on my experiences. It was based on my experiences as an employee and the things that I felt were missing in the workforce and were missing for people like me who didn't necessarily. My mom can tell me how to run an empire, but when I was looking for jobs, that just wasn't her forte. And I think that's the case for a lot of people in a lot of different ways where we just don't really know how to navigate this new job space. And I wanted to figure out, like, how do I fit into this? What can I do to make this happen? I'm not your traditional HR specialist. You know, I haven't been working in the HR field in departments in a very traditional way, but I had HR experiences. My first job, I was a manager. I was managing like 60 people, hiring, interviewing, doing all of that stuff that I didn't realize until later on. People didn't get this experience. And so pieces of me felt kind of insecure because I was so young in that space, taking on all of these responsibilities. And I shied away from entrepreneurship because I was just like, I can't do this. I'm not you. I can't figure out like all of these things that you do. Like, my mama will work 15 hours, make lobster tail for dinner, and then still plan on what her next day is going to be. And I'm just like, I don't have that in me. That's just crazy. And so I finally started making these very small steps into building my business. And it still took me a while. You know, I had my village. I had my people like rooting me on. I was having conversations with people But it was just still this voice in the back of my head that was like, girl, are you sure? You sure you want to do this? How you gonna do this? Like, how we doing this? You know how we doing this? Because I don't know how we doing this. And I was just like, hey, listen, just chill on me. I'll figure it out. And then I got my beacon of hope. My coach asked for my resume for our first intensive. Me being a perfectionist that I am, it works really interesting because I am a perfectionist that knows that perfection doesn't exist. So I work towards the impossible in a very strange way. And so I couldn't just give her the resume that I had been passing around to my employers to get these jobs because I'm supposed to be a CEO now. You know, I'm supposed to have all of these things together. So I am freaking out. I didn't have headshots. I didn't have my big capability statement and all of these things that entrepreneurs allegedly have. So I'm like, I need to find a photographer. I need to get my resume done. And I have to do all of this stuff. And I started calming down. I did find a photographer, took some great pictures. Shout out to Amber Iris. She's in DC, so if you're in DC and you want some great branded photos, there you go. There's some free advertisements. But I took those pictures, I got my resume ready, and as I was doing my resume and I calmed down, I realized, one, what am I freaking out about? I've been writing resumes for years, not just for myself, for my friends. Anytime my friend is looking for a job, they're like, hey, can you look at my resume real quick? And I'm like, yeah, use this software, do this, all of those things. Doing all of that, I was just like, what am I concerned about?
Yeah, like, why were you freaking out? But that's how you always have been. Like, you know, you freak out before the test and then like, mommy, I got a 98.
Right. And I'm like, but I got a 98. You know, like it wasn't 100. And you just like, it's an A.
Yeah. But I'm the same way, so yeah.
Yeah, I get it very naturally. So I'm freaking out and I make this bomb resume, okay? Like my resume was it. Like everything that I designed, I was just like, yo, I am good at this. I am not good at this. I am great at this. And I had a friend who was job searching and I was like, let me do your resume. Because I wanted to see, like I needed to test this out. Like I had this new system, this new way of doing things. And because I had job hopped, if you don't know, I had 3 jobs in 2019. It was a very interesting experience, but I learned very quickly how to get jobs and how to, you know, really show up and be good at it. Like the numerous interviews and all of those things. So I was like, let me just use all of this research and see if I can formulate something to help other people create resumes. And I did the resume for my friend and I was like, oh no, I'm really good at this. Like I'm really it.
And
like,
did she get the job?
I got every job all the time. I got the job, they got the job, everybody got the job. The jobs was just happening. So I was like, okay, I am going to do a quick sale. I'm gonna dip my toe in and I'm gonna see if people would be interested in resume services. Like if this is something that people would want. And so I made my little Canva flyer and I was like, I'm doing resume services for X amount of money, but it's a limited time slot. And I was hoping by maybe like 2 months, all the slots was gonna fill up. When I tell you within a week, I think, all 15 of my slots were booked for these resume services. And I had more people after that. Like, it was like, keep asking, like, can you do it? Can I get an appointment? Is no more appointments available? What are we going to do? And I was just like, wait, I was not ready for that. But I was at the same time, like, I didn't think that I could do it, but I did. Again, perfectionist and then perfection not existing and then perfection happens. And it's like, wow, okay, cool. It blew me away and it took me out of this place of feeling like, you know, I wasn't supposed to be here. I couldn't be here. Also recognizing that even at MogulCon, I was probably, one of the youngest people?
Yeah, I think you were. There was one other girl that was your same age.
Yeah, so it was like me and people 15 years older than me, you know, plus, you know, and 15 kind of being the lower ranking of it. And always being in rooms with people who are generally a lot older than me. So comparing myself to like a 45-year-old with 20 years worth of experience probably isn't fair to me. And so that moment kind of helped me exit out of that insecurity on recognizing that I did have something of value, not just for myself, but for other people. And feeling like as a business owner, I had something to contribute to the overall professional world. That felt great. That felt amazing. And it's been a drive since I've started to just kind of get out of that space and know that everything that's happened to me before and after this has prepared me for this moment and that this is the moment that I'm supposed to be in.
Yeah. And I think, you know, sometimes we have to, when we're having those moments of self-doubt, the validation, it comes externally. Mm-hmm. So when you're doubting yourself, when you're down on yourself, you don't believe that you can do something, it usually takes something outside of you to remind you of how awesome you really are. And just like your story, I have tons of stories just like that. I've had times where it's like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. I'm not saying entrepreneurship, but it may just be this one thing. There have been times where I just said, I don't want to do this service anymore. Mm-hmm. And then I get an email from a client that says, thank you so much for this. This has really changed my business. Just something outside of you that just reminds you that you're awesome.
Right.
And it also reminds you that the things that you do aren't for you anyway.
Exactly. It's for other people. And as a business owner, I've gotten to a point where I feel like it's selfish of me to be insecure about the things that I do.
Because you're not showing up for you, you're showing up for somebody else.
I'm showing up for somebody else. And so it's like, if I'm showing up for somebody else, I have to show up 100%. And I can't show up with this idea that it's not going to be, I've accepted that it won't be perfect, but it also will be excellent. I will have a high standard of the services that I could provide, and I'll be open to changing and adapting in a way that will elevate me and innovate me into a new space. And those things are things that have definitely helped me move away from accepting insecurity. Because I think we all get insecure and we have those feelings, but accepting that insecurity and seeing that as true is the difference between, people that do good things and people that do great things.
Yeah. And we talked about it. Imposter syndrome is real.
It's so real. It's so real. And I think for both of us, as much as we've accomplished in life, we still have those moments where we're like, can I do this? Like, is this the next frontier for me? Or am I okay with these accomplishments? Or this is something that we definitely do for each other. We will forget all of the amazing things that we've done.
And focus on that one little thing.
Yeah, the one little thing, that one little mistake that we made. And I know for me, when I hear you, I'm like, girl, have you met you?
I trip out sometimes. Sometimes I think that the things that I have accomplished are normal or average, or everybody has done it. Like, even, like I'm doing a TED Talk in a couple of weeks, and I just sometimes imposter syndrome sneaks up on me and says, girl, you're not the first person to do a TED Talk. It's a whole bunch of people who've done TED Talks. You're not special because you're doing a TED Talk. And so in those moments, you have to realize that those things that's playing in your head and your mind, they're not always true.
They're not true. And even if you have those moments, they're moments, and it's fleeting. It can pass. And I think for us, I'm going to call us out for all my high achievers. This is for you, because achievement can be very addicting. You have to celebrate yourself along the way. I always kind of slide in a little pop culture story and things like that. I was watching this interview with Diane Carroll, and she was talking about how when she was nominated for an Oscar for Claudine, she was in Mexico relaxing. Her manager called her like, hey, you got nominated for an Oscar for, I think it was for whatever the lead actress role is. And that was like one of the first times that had happened. I think the person before her was Dorothy Dandridge, which was like years before Claudine had happened. And so the first thing her manager told her was, I know you have a tendency to not take these kind of things as serious accomplishments, but I'm not going to let you do this right now, because this is something that's really important and you need to celebrate it. That's so true with everything. Both you and I are not team participation trophy. We don't necessarily love the graduations for every time you get an A on the test. And
those we're not going to have a party. You're not getting a gift if you do stuff that you're supposed to do.
Yeah, or breathe. However, I do think it's important that when we do have these really big moments, that we have these accomplishments, that we celebrate ourselves. Like, we should totally celebrate ourselves because we're doing great things. And listen, girl, a lot of people may have done a TED Talk, but this is your first one and you're going to kill it, okay? You're going to kill it.
Yes.
And that's what it is. And so for me, I even had this moment when I first started my business, like, man, I'm just starting my first business at 25. Like, I'm so behind. I think I was actually 24 when I started, but it was just like, I'm so behind. And I'm just like, Girl, get it together. Get it together.
So if you're feeling self-doubt, I just want you to know, like, we feel it too. You're not alone. But sometimes it's really about, all you got to do is think about the people that you're going to impact.
Yeah.
I remember when I was getting ready to write my first book, and I'm going to just tell y'all, it took me 6 years to figure out what I wanted to put in this book. It's just them taking that long. But I remember my coach at the time, James Malinchek, was my coach, and he said, why do you want to write this book? Mm-hmm. And I said, I want businesses to stop going out of business. I want them to stop failing. And he said, so what happens if you don't? And so that reminder, those 6 years of doubting myself that I could actually get this done, that was 6 years. Like, how many businesses went out of business in 6 years? That's not to say that every business owner is going to read my book, but my hope is that the business owners that do read it will stay in business. And so when you're feeling those moments of self-doubt, get out of your head and think about the people that you are going to impact. Then that's what really matters.
Yeah, that's what keeps you going.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these takeaways. I think number one for me is, especially from my story, you just need to know step one. I'm pro-plan. I really am. I will create a whole scenario in my head, write it down, put it on the whiteboard, all of that fun stuff.
Yeah, you are. Because I remember when I came to you about this podcast, I was ready to do it in 30 days. And you were like, no, mommy, we need to work this out. And so we had to stretch it out. I just want y'all to know, I wanted to launch in June. And Miss Thang over here said, no, we need time. And
we needed time.
Yeah, we did. We did. Maybe, we could have figured it out.
We needed time. But in the spirit of honoring both of us, sometimes you just need step one. And step one is okay, and you can figure out all the rest of the steps later.
Most of the stuff that you are believing is probably not true anyway.
Right. The things in your head, it's just in your head. It's not real life. And then the third thing, and I think this is super important, and this is a point that we've been honing on again and again, but you have to surround yourself with people that want to see you win.
Yep.
And when you surround yourself with people who want to see you win, they're able to talk those voices out of your head that's telling you that you're going to lose.
I have a whole bunch of those people in my life that tell me, girl, please, go sit down somewhere.
Go sit down, please, because you already know you can rock it. So we hope that this was, you know what? We're going to stop saying we hope that this was helpful. We're going to believe that it was helpful.
Yeah, we already know we helped you. Just remind us and tag us in your post when you say, girl, you helped me with that episode.
Right. No, we just kidding. We really are humble, y'all. We really are humble.
Yeah, and we do. We do really hope that this podcast is helping you, and this episode will help you overcome your self-doubt. So meet us here next week, and we are going to talk about some of the small changes that you can make that make a big impact. And if you haven't already, join our online community, the Efficient CEO Movement, on Facebook, where we will be continuing the conversation and provide you with tips, advice, and encouragement.
I'm going to keep it short and cute this week. Follow us on social media at the CEO Launch. Almost everything you can think of, we're on that platform.
Yes, see you next week.
And don't forget to take off.
This is a Clairwood production.